What's going on, guys? I'm Enrique Pinheiro, and welcome to the Hawk Show Talk Show, a Seattle Seahawks podcast. You can find me on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube, and I also post news and highlights on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. My handle for all these platforms is at Hawk Show Talk Show. If you want to follow, ask me questions, or just keep up with the channel, there you go. In today's episode, we're going to be discussing all the news and drama around Russell and my thoughts on it. So let's get right into it. Let's talk some Hawk. So it all started when Russell's team, his agents, made it public that they were frustrated with the organization's lack of effort put into protecting Russell and the offensive line. And I think we all know, it's public knowledge around the league, that the Seahawks are kind of known, the stereotype with the Seahawks, that we have the bad offensive line. Even this year, when at points in the season we had a great offensive line, people just blame the losses on the offensive line. And most of the time, that's accurate. Our offensive line, the past, especially 7 seasons, ever since the Super Bowl loss, has been atrocious. And the stats show it. Russell's been sacked 394 times in his first 9 seasons of his career. His only 9 seasons of his career, which pretty sure is an NFL record for how many times to get sacked in your first 9 seasons and in a total of 9 seasons. It's just absurd that someone of Russell's caliber, that generational talent, a Hall of Fame player, gets no protection. And the thing is, it's not that we're putting the effort in and the players are just not performing. Pete and John have put very little effort into protecting Russell, and the stats show it. Ever since 2015, the past 7 seasons, here are our rankings on, in comparison to other teams around the league, how much we pay the offensive line. Starting in 2015, it goes 30th place, and 32nd place, 26th place, 26th place again, 15th place, not too bad, middle of the road, then back to 26th place, and then more recently, 31st place in money spent on offensive line. We spend the second least amount of money on the offensive line, and we're the same team with Russell Wilson, just star quarterback getting no protection. And the reason I really don't understand it is that Russell is just he's an elite quarterback. Everyone knows it. And when you have an elite quarterback like this, like you got your Rodgers and your Mahomes and Russell and all these guys up there, you do everything you can to protect them. The Packers have done that. They got Bakhtiari. They got Elgton Jenkins. They got Corey Linsley. The Chiefs got Eric Fisher, Mitchell Schwartz. Just great offensive linemen that they're known for. We don't got anyone like that. Dwayne Brown's solid. He's a vet. He's not at that same elite level as these bigger name guys. And I just don't understand why we don't put the same effort that other teams can with their star quarterbacks. Like, why can't we protect Russell in the way that we should? Anyways, to continue the saga, then the Seahawks, they said that they were unhappy with Russell's team making it public knowledge, like making their frustrations known to the public and not keeping it under the radar like the Seahawks would have wanted. And then there were other teams making offers for Russell. There's rumors about that. But then the Seahawks remained adamant that they did not want to trade Russell, that Russell was not going anywhere. And that's the truth, I believe. I don't think Russell's going anywhere. Even though anything can happen, I think that Russell is not going to get traded. He's too good of a player. It'd be foolish of us to trade Russell, especially at this point. We're in win now mode, I would say. We have a very good roster on our hands, and we do not have time to start trying to develop a young quarterback. And there's no point in trading for another vet like Russ, because Russ is just about the best we can get. But I'm very glad Russell did this, and I'm surprised he hasn't done this before in his season because, as I've shown, there's always been offensive line problems. But this is the first time I've seen Russell really apply pressure to Pete and John and use his leverage to force them to have to, start making splashes in free agency, start using draft capital, start using cap space on the O-line, start prioritizing Russell like you should. The defense is important. The run game is important. Prioritize your star player. Prioritize Russell. And some people might say, hey, they've tried. They have put forth the effort to get Russell some protection. All right, let's go through some examples. Jermaine Ifedi, first round O lineman. Woohoo! He was a revolving door for 4 seasons. I don't know how he started that long. He was very bad. Good luck in Chicago, Jermaine. You were pretty fun to watch. It's kind of funny to watch, especially when you got that strip sack on Russell against the Niners. But that was not a good pick. I don't know what we're doing there. Then, they've helped Russell. They got him some weapons. They traded the first round pick for Percy Harvin. It's great in the Super Bowl. Not so great in the locker room. He's gone after like a season. So there's a first round pick down the drain. Then Jimmy Graham. We traded a first in Max Unger for him. So they're, letting the O-line go for a star player. And that star player, Jimmy Graham, underperformed insanely. He made a lot of great catches, a lot of one-handers, and then every ball that was right to him, he dropped. And that was another fluke. He's gone now. And I just think it shows that we get these big names and it doesn't work. And then you're like, oh, like maybe Russell's a problem. No, he's not. Look, he's making it work with. I know that I love them. I love you, Doug. I love Jermaine. I love Paul Richardson. But these are not big guys, but Russell is making them big guys. Russell is making these pedestrians, as they were called, these big name receivers at one point that he's winning games with. And this is all the evidence you need to see that Russell's such a star. But the past couple of seasons still, Pete and John have kind of, I don't know about John, but I know Pete has really endorsed that run game, like the run first style, which is almost having Russell like a game manager. He's not a game manager. Russell's the only reason we win games. We get into games like that Packers divisional game. We pounded the rock with Money Lynch and Travis Homer for most of that game until the end where Russell tried to make a comeback, and he would have done it if Malik Turner knew how to catch a football and if the refs knew that Jimmy Graham didn't get to the line. Anyways, but why are we treating Russell like Jimmy G? He's Russell Wilson. He's great. He's Mr. Unlimited. And he needs to be in power. And I know this season there was too much passing at one point. It didn't go too well. But there needs to be a balance. There needs to be a surprise, which is why I'm happy that Russell's part of the conversation to sign Shane Waldron, because I think OC was a big problem this past season too. I know that Shotty might have broke Seahawks records. I don't think Shotty was a part of any of that. I think Shotty would call a lot of meh plays, a lot of average plays, and we would just get bailed out because we have Russell Wilson, Tyler Lockett, and DK Metcalf. I think that is why. And I know that you look at DK, I just mentioned him, like DK's bailing people out. He's bailing the Seahawks out. We didn't put much effort into getting DK either. In that draft, we passed on him twice for LJ Collier and Marquise Blair, who I love both of them. LJ made the game-saving tackle against Cam, and Marquise Blair, I think he's gonna be so good when he's starting, and when they don't have Tedrick Thompson starting over him, and when he's healthy. But that draft class has not been good, other than the DK pick, which fell into our lap. We finally get a big name in the draft, and we got him in basically the third round. So that's just another example of us not putting much effort towards Russell. If we did, I think we should have I would have taken DK first round, but it all worked out anyways. It's okay. But anyways, back to the Waldron situation. I'm very glad that Russell's a part of that discussion, because he needs to get someone that he approves of so he can show with it. And especially in this offseason, Russell needs to be a part of every big decision that is made. I think Russell's opinion is more important than Pete's at this point. I'm sorry, especially when it comes to the free agents like this, because every year in free agency, everyone knows what we do. We let all the big names. We let Clowney go. We let I don't know who else, but a lot of huge names just go in free agency. But it's okay because we signed Cedric Ogbuehi and B.J. Finney and Philip Dorsett. And I know on paper they didn't look that bad, but Ogbuehi was a fine backup. Brandon Shell we signed, amazing signing. We got very lucky because he was a very bad season before he joined us. And Dorsett was hurt. Josh Gordon suspended. BJ Finney was a joke. He was a third stringer after we paid him $4 million a year. Luckily, the man who got us Carlos Dunlap. Oh, we praise you, BJ Finney. But that offseason was not good other than the Jamal and Dunbar trade. Dunbar didn't really pan out either. But anyways, you see this. We let these big free agents, we let them leave in free agency because it's okay. We're the Seahawks. We'll be okay with these scraps. But these scraps, most of the time, do not work. Brandon Shell is a great example of a scrap that did work, but it's kind of an outlier. Hopefully, this offseason, it'll be different, and we can actually maybe get some big names. I know we don't have that much cap right now, but I'll discuss in a later episode how we can make more cap and how we can restructure contracts so you move things around, which will allow us to get these offensive linemen that I'd like to get. And these are guys like Joe Tooney, Corey Linsley, Brandon Sheriff, Alex Mack. If we could get these O-linemen, it'd be a game changer for us. I know that a big complaint about Russell is that, especially this past season, he held the ball too much a lot of time, especially in that Rams game at the end, in the Giants game and some other games, but where he would get sacked even though he had a good amount of time in the pocket, but he would just start dancing in the pocket, and he'd get sacked eventually. So those are his fault, but most of the time we know Russell does not get the time in the pocket that he should be getting. So imagine the ideal offensive line of Dwayne Brown, who I would also like to restructure his contract, because he's getting up there, even though I still think he's elite. So Dwayne, we love you. Dwayne Brown at starting left tackle. Keep Brandon Shaw at right tackle, even though he had a meh second half of the season. I like Brandon Shaw there. Damian Lewis, all rookie, future Pro Bowler, future All Pro. Love you, Damian Lewis. Do not bring Mikey Upati. Do not bring Ethan Postage back. I do not want to see either of them starting for the Seattle Seahawks next year. Imagine if we could have with Dwayne Brown at left tackle, like a Deontay Brown as a first-round pick at left guard, or just signing Joe Thuney there. And then at center, Alex Mack, Corey Linsley, some other, at least like a credible, good center with Damian Lewis and Brandon Shaw on the other side. Imagine that O-line. It would just be crazy to see Russell with that type of protection. It would be wonderful. And I think we'd win a lot more games, and we wouldn't have to be climbing back in such games. Or most of the time, it's that we're losing by the time to make a comeback. But a lot of time this season, we would take a big lead and then get off the gas and let teams come back and make the game close. Anyways, I just think the offensive line would just we could be blowing out teams. I think we could really be that good. And about helping out Russell, something that I wanted to discuss was some people say, oh, there are rumors that we're trying to trade for Zach Ertz. We're trying to trade for Zach Ertz? That's the way we're going to help Russell? Why are we trying to trade for Zach Ertz? What I call Zach Ertz is Greg Olsen 2.0, because the way I see it is a out of his prime tight end that's he used to be good, he used to be elite, and now we want to trade him. We trade for him. We want to sign him if he gets cut. If we trade for Zach Ertz, we're gonna pay him $8 million. And that's why I call him Greg Olsen 2.0. Greg Olsen made $7 million. It's about around the same. Washed up. Sorry, that is not gonna be good. I don't think Zach Ertz has it in him. I know it used to be the Kittle, Kelsey, Ertz big three, and Kittle and Kelsey are still elite. They're still stars, and there are new star tight ends like Darren Waller, but I don't see Zach Ertz there anymore. I know he was hurt last season, but even when he wasn't hurt, even when he was healthy, he wasn't producing. And 2 seasons ago, he didn't produce either. And if your argument last year is that, oh, he was still injured, he was banged up, the way I see it is when he was hurt and even when he came back, Dallas Goedert and Richard Rodgers were putting up not like insane like Pro Bowl numbers, but just to be a tight end, especially for like I had Dallas Goedert in fantasy, they're putting up good numbers. So what is Zach Ertz doing this whole time? It's obvious that a tight end could thrive in that Eagles offense if it was Wentz or Hurts, but Zach Ertz couldn't. So why are we gonna trust Zach Ertz to like be that third weapon, that third star that Russell has on offense to use? No, I don't think Zach Ertz is the answer. If we do get Zach Ertz, I would prefer if it was for very minimal value. I think we could sign him if he gets cut. I thought he was going to get cut originally, but I wouldn't even want to trade like a 5th or 6th for him. We have very little draft picks. I like to save them. But if we do end up getting Zach Ertz, I would really like if it was a very like a $4 million contract. I know that's underpaid, but I don't see much value in him. I think maybe a prove-it deal. I don't see him as elite anymore. I don't see him as $8 million, especially when we're so broke like we are right now. And that's the thing. I guess I like the idea that we're going for these weapons for Russell, but we need weapons in their prime. We can't get these guys like these Greg Olsens, these Zach Ertz, and even these Carlos Hydes that are out of their prime and expect them to go out there and win us games. We have a very good roster. We're in win now mode. I would say that maybe other than the Bucks in that playoff picture this past season, we had the best roster out there. I think our defense stepped it up a ton. D-line was great. Best linebacking core in the league and a great secondary. And then Russell, O-line is still bad, but better than most seasons. Healthy, even though he was on a snap count the entire second half of the season. Chris Carson, and then even if he's not Carlos Hyde. And Greg Olsen was healthy. Big whoop. Who cares if I'm sorry? He's not that much better healthy than hurt. And then DK Lockett, but still, that was coaching problems in the playoff game, I'd say. But anyways, our roster's amazing. If we fill holes like the wide receiver 3, even though I love you, Demo, I think you're great. Some of the best Seahawks plays I've ever seen, especially that Patriots catch. But you cannot get open. You don't get open very often, and Demo is not very good after the catch, and I especially see this on his punt returns, or his I don't need his lack of punt returns, because he gets it and he doesn't return it. He runs the other way. He backpedals. Demo is not. I love Demo, and I hope we re-sign him just because he's a fan favorite of mine. But I'd put him as a wide receiver 4. I would really like to see Russell with a third guy like AB, even though he's probably staying in Tampa. But if we could have Russell with a third weapon, whether it be a tight end or wide receiver 3, I really think that this roster is a Super Bowl winning roster if we play our cards right and get guys like this. Anyways, that's just the life of a Seahawks fan. I say this every year that I think this is our year. I think that we make the right moves, we can win. And usually divisional or wild card exit. But you know what? Russell's finally stepping up to the plate, expressing his frustration. So things could really get different. That's all for today, guys. Let me know what else you guys want to see in future episodes. Leave it, depending on what platform you're listening or watching this on. Let me know what you want to see in a future episode, what you want to see me cover, discuss, my thoughts on anything. But yeah, that's it. This is Enrique signing off. Thank you for watching. Bye, guys.